Listen, is like Valve has a diversity crisis, and I hate stuff like this. We're just forcing shit on companies because you need to hit a couple boxes. It's like, oh, because you're this, you get a job. I remember I applied at a couple jobs, and I tested this out. I applied at some jobs, didn't get any calls back, and this is when I was living in Portland. And then I reapplied for those exact same jobs, the exact same position, but I put that I was Native American, and I got a call back. And now I don't know if they were calling me back on the first application or the second one, for the thing I got. But I remember thinking that if it was off the second one, were they calling me because of my skills that pertain to the job, or were they calling me because I am just enough native to check a box? And that really bothered me. That always really bothered me. And I would rather, because I had like I remember it was a grocery store job, and I had like recommendations from high up at different grocery stores for doing a good job. And I just remember thinking, like, are my recommendations getting me in here, or is it my race? And it was just something that I thought I would test because I heard that there was companies looking for diversity quotas, and I was like, this is bullshit. And then I applied, and within a day I got hit back, and I was like, that's sus. I don't like that. I don't like that. And I hope it was off of my my qualifications and not off of the weird bit of race that I have in me. But this is what they're talking about: Valve's issues with diversity.
Valve has a diversity crisis. Uh-oh.
I can't tell you how many women work at Valve, or people of color, or non-binary folks, or those who identify as LGBTQ or disabled people, because, well, Valve is a private company and it doesn't need to disclose those numbers, and also it didn't respond to our own requests for those figures. However,
it shouldn't have to. It shouldn't have to. It's a private company, and the fact that you're just like, it's fucking weird, dude. If I walk up to somebody's place of work and I'm like, excuse me, how many women do you have hired compared to men? And how many people of color do you have hired compared to white people? We need to make sure that you hit right quotas. That's fucking weird, dude. It's like, no, we hired people that were best fit for the positions. And they're like, well, is that the right race? Which is racist to me. That's fucking racist. And I get that. I get that you might disagree with me on that, but I don't like racism of any kind. I think you should be judged on the merit of your character and your qualifications. First and foremost, that's why you should get a job. So I think this type of shit is weird. Now, I don't know if he's going to go in that direction. I just wanted to make my opinion be known. I'm shooting my shot in the atmosphere and catching it in my own mouth.
Why would they? I mean, if somebody's asking for those figures, they're only doing it in order to create a narrative that you're doing something wrong. Like, how could there ever be a single positive to sharing that information?
Multiple interviewees that we spoke to described the company as having an enormous lack of diversity, extremely white and extremely male. There have been efforts made over the years by various employees who've pushed to make Valve more representative. However, I'm told these efforts are largely blocked by either the company's structure or its leadership.
If that effort was being blocked and there was an effort to hire a person that was black and it was being blocked by the nature of the fact that the person was black, Valve would be in a massive discrimination lawsuit and they would have to pay out millions, if not billions.
Well, here's the thing too. I'm gonna piggyback off of the shit he's saying. I'm up Asmongold's ass right now. I would start claiming a non-binary Native American. I guess I missed that, but yeah, dude, see, that was about that. I had seen something on Twitter about it, or not Twitter, what did I have? I had it was like Facebook. I saw somebody post a Facebook thing about it. It was like if I in like Way Political Ant or some shit, and I saw them post something about it, and I'm like, this is bullshit. I'm like, it's not that way. You're overreacting. And then I got the call the next day, and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? That's fucked. And but at the same time, I can't verify. I can't be 100%. So that's just something that I remember kind of hitting me odd. But here's something too, like, I don't think you should, like, if somebody's like, oh, we should hire them, and then they're like, why? And they're like, well, he's good at this. And they're like, well, we don't need that position filled. And they're, oh, you just don't want to hire him because he's fucking Asian or black or native or something. And you see that, and I think that's a disingenuous way to put it. Now, and that's where, like, because if a company, like, if you go into an interview, and the guy's like, what are you? What are you? What is this tan? Are you just like tanning, or is you got like some grossness in you? You got some of that fucking nasty. That's fucking discrimination, and that person has every right to sue that company, and they should sue that fucking company into the ground. They should take their fucking whatever genitals they got and just slap them down on that fucking company as hard as they possibly can over and over again and get every single cent they can, because that is discrimination. But if you're not hired because there's no positions to fill, or there's somebody else that's more qualified than you, like let's say it's a guy right out of college. He's good at what he does, but he has no references yet. And there's a position for a high-end coder at Valve, like somebody who's going to be a creative lead. Well, all of a sudden, the dude who worked on, let's say, fucking Baldur's Gate, one of the heads over at Baldur's Gate 2, he needs a job, right? He's looking for a new place to work. He had his fun with Baldur's Gate, but he wants to work with somebody else, and he applies for the same job. You should give it to the guy who worked on Baldur's Gate, irregardless of what the races are between those guys, because one has better qualifications than the other. And race should never be a factor in a hiring process. It just shouldn't. It shouldn't. You should be hired on what you've done previously. And I get that there can be an unbiased or a subconscious bias where some places are just, some guys are has racism in his fucking butthole, and it sneaks out, crawls up his leg, and whispers in his ear, "Don't hire him because he's one of the bad ones." And you're like, and yeah, that sucks. I hate those people. Like, you should, if I was looking at a list of people, you should look at them as their qualifications, do an interview process, and you should pick one that's best for the job. And it shouldn't matter what they look like. And I'm a firm believer in that. I'm vehemently. And I get that there is going to be instances where it's somebody who fucking sucks. It's just and if you have any inkling and this is something I want to tell my audience, if you're in a situation and you're getting wrongdoing because of your race, or you go into an interview and there's something off and that dude says something that's suspect, you should always go into interviews and stuff, and you should ask if you can record it for not for safety. Don't say for safety, because that's fucking gonna put a bad stain on it. But say, hey, I record my interviews so that I can improve myself for each or improve myself with each iteration of what I do. I always want to listen back to see what I could have done better, what questions I could have asked, and you should record them. And I mean, even if you're not recording them just to watch out for racism or whatever, it's also good to have those things to be like, oh dude, I was so cringe in that interview, next time I need to get my ducks in a row. It's good to have those things available. And I think that's a fair thing to ask. And if an employer looks at you and says, I don't want this recorded, and it's like, okay, that's fine. And then you do the interview and it's sussy-wussy. I mean, would you want to work at that place anyways? Go find a place that's a better fit for you. You know, it's you're going to have a bad, if you go into an interview and the guy won't even let you record it for your own benefit, is it that good of a place to work for? And I'm not saying that you have to do that, but I think it would help.
Millions of dollars. Yeah.
But equity. Yeah, Dean, I hate that shit. Let's bring other people down. Let's bring other people down so that we can build another group of people up, and then just create racism. We are then creating racism due to law and rhetoric. And you want to hear something so insane it's hard to believe it's true? As long as it's not so insane that I get demonetized off of YouTube, sure.
It's just that simple.
It used to be that there were maybe 10 or 15% women in the development teams, but definitely now I think they've dipped below that point.
Well, you've created an arbitrary criteria point, and then you've said you have to meet this criteria point. Who decided that? You did. You don't work at Valve. You're not in charge of them. What is this? Valve's estimated profit per employee is around $19 million, making it one of the highest per employee profit figures among major tech companies. What they're doing works, and it outperforms all other people that are in the space. Hired on merit. Yeah, you always hire on merit. If you're not hiring on merit, you're setting yourself up to fail.
The higher up you go, the whiter and male it becomes.
The implication here is that being white is somehow a problem. If you replace the word of the...
Well, it's not just that being white is a problem. I mean, also, if people who work at Valve make that much money, they're probably happy with their positions and not willing to give up their spot. So when Valve started, let's say before, when Steam first launched, Valve's already established, it already had a set group of, a set... pecking order. It already had the set pecking order, and those people aren't going to leave until they retire. And then there's a good chance that somebody who's been kicking their butt in the lower tier is going to move up to the next tier because of their qualifications, because no company of actual merit and intelligence is going to pick another guy based on race. They're going to pick on who's going to perform best in this situation. And unless you want your business to fail. If you want your business to fail, you will pick based on fucking weird it's like, oh well, he's got a nicer nose. California, there are 3 top fire chiefs. The top 3 ranking firefighters, all 3 are lesbians. Women make up 4.3% of the firefighters in California. Let's say half are lesbians. What are the odds that 3 of them became fire chief? That's insane. That's just, well, and that's the problem. I mean, you when you do this identity stuff, and I saw a clip from the firefighters where it was like, why? Well, I've seen them criticize our fire chiefs because they're women, and how can they carry a man out or carry my husband out of the house when he weighs 250? Well, you need to ask your husband how he got in that situation to begin with. Motherfucker, my house caught on fire, and I need somebody to get me out of the room because I'm blocked into a room. That's your fucking job, dude. Your job is one thing: save me from a fire. It's like, what? I hate this shield that people put up because of race and like sexual orientation. I hate it. It's a shield. It's a shield for your incompetence to be able to do the actual job. Now, let's say you're like fucking like if she would have like walked out, she's like, bitch, I could carry. She's like, I squat 400 pounds. You don't think I could carry your 250-pound husband? That's a based ass answer. If she's just a fucking super badass bitch, dude, and she got the job because she can fucking cut it and tuck it, dude, I have no, like, she's the best person for the job. I believe you. I'm not even, like, I don't even need to Google it. I've seen the fire chief. I've seen some of the drama with the fire chief and, like, their promotional tapes that are just fucking weird from California. But it's like, forcing a company to do this shit just for your own benefit or for the benefit of brownie points and political points is just fucking dumb, dude. It's just fucking dumb. It leads to one, we were looking at it in the video game industry where it's leading to games being shit because one, you look at games from like 5-10 years ago, they were doing more in terms of gameplay. Like Crysis 1 is still holds up way better than games coming out today. Like, you can do more in Crysis 1 than you can do in half of these Ubisoft games that are coming out. And it was because they were trying to innovate and they were trying to do cool shit, and now they're just trying to hit enough boxes and try to win brownie points on the internet. It's like, dude, you were fucking trying to make a product to sell to people, and then when people criticize them, they throw a little tantrum on the internet and call everybody racist. It's dumb. It's dumb. I hate it.
People that you are trying to replace with the word of people that you think are protected, would your statement be bad? And if the answer is yes, then your statement is not theoretically bad, it is just simply bad.
That compounds the issue, because part of making any field more diverse is that you have to start introducing diversity into it. Valve's not going to be...
Well, I don't think that I feel like the entire premise of this is that it's a problem or that it's necessary. I don't think diversity is something that is a good or a bad thing. Having more diversity doesn't make something better, and it doesn't make it worse either. It's just simply a collection of people.
And there are already more middle-aged white guys in the games industry than any other group of people, so...
Well, the premise of this is that it's a problem that there are middle-aged white guys in the gaming industry. I think that if you said there's a lot of young black women here, like... I would say that's racist.
First of all,
not even getting on, like, here's the thing. Oh, because there's a lot. So what do you want them to just give up their jobs? So this is my problem with this type of stuff. Oh, well, there's a lot of middle-aged white guys in this industry already. What do you want to do with them? What, should you just fucking kick them out? Well, they've been here, they're privileged. You need to fire them and replace them with somebody of color. That's racist. That's racist. That's not just racist. That's just inhumane. To fire somebody based on their skin color, for one, and for two, to replace them with somebody because you want to hit the right quotas. That's fucked up. It's like some dude's grinding his ass off, been in the industry since the 90s or something, or the 80s. The dude's been like since the 80s and 90s, just fucking making been on so many big projects, done so much for the gaming industry, and then one day he gets kicked out because he doesn't hit the right skin color on a fucking Home Depot chart. That's fucking gay, dude. That's cringe. That's fucking retarded. That's like, dude, that's like fucking coming on your own chest and wondering why it's getting sticky. It's dumb, dude.
You need to have actually seen them do that work in the first place. And secondly, if you have seen it, you need to understand
exactly. Middle-aged white guys like gaming and work. And I mean, other people, like, it's not just like, it's not just racing. I mean, we're seeing more people get interested in this atmosphere because it's getting bigger every single day. It's growing and growing, and we're going to see diversity due to the fact that it's becoming such a mainstream thing. Gaming is no longer the niche kid thing or the fucking weird nerd thing. It is mainstream as fuck now. So you're going to see more people getting into it. And there's going to be people that are going to come out there, they're going to kick ass. They're not going to listen to any of this side bullshit. They're just going to put their nose to the grindstone and create good shit. They are going to build good games. That's all they care about. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters, and they will their career will prosper because they're out there doing good shit. They're out there working their ass off. That is all about the grind set, and everybody who has that grind set should be in the same mindset. It's like, oh, I'm doing this thing. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep working my ass off. I'm going to keep cooking, and eventually I will be realized, and people will want me, and they will hunt me down and beg for me to work at these places. Instead of me begging to work for them and then utilizing things like racism and using excuses. They're just excuses. It's like, oh, I didn't get it because I have too fucking weird of an eyebrow. I didn't get it because my fucking left toe is too small and they knew somehow and they didn't hire me because of it. That's an excuse. They didn't hire you because you didn't have the qualifications. Go fucking do it. Just go do it. There's nothing stopping you in this world. You can go do anything you want to. I am a fucking example of that. I'm a fat idiot yelling into a microphone, and for some reason people subscribe to me. They fucking comment on my shit. They like my shit, and I just keep doing it. I keep grinding, and I'm slowly making my way up to 1,000 subs. And one day I will be way past that, and I will keep fucking grinding. And I want everybody who watches me to know that no matter what you look like, no matter how you are, as long as you work your ass off, you can do anything you want. You can achieve your dreams. It's just about doing it, and do not expect the world to bow down to you, and don't blame other people and other things for your misfortune. Just say, that sucks, I'm gonna keep doing this. That sucks, I'm gonna move on. You get knocked down, you get right back up. That was not the good Rocky. Adrian, you get knocked down, you get right back up again. You just keep going, dude. Just keep fucking going. Don't let your dreams leave you behind. Chase those motherfuckers down and beat the fuck out of them. Subdue them and then teabag the shit out of them with your massive fucking balls, dick, and clit.
That work enough to recognize it as something worthwhile.
Do you really think that the people that work at a company that you have admitted only hire the best of the best and creates the highest profit per employee at $19 million? Do you really think that those people can't recognize good work and you can? How delusional and stupid could you possibly be? It's hilarious that they even think that they can evaluate this better than they can.
And it's going to be so much harder to hire someone who is a woman or isn't white or any of the things that isn't your average Valve employee profile.
Yeah, I think this right here, like videos like this, are the most corrosive and the most effective at radicalizing people against DEI or like liberal policies than Nick Fuentes, Sam Hyde, or Tony Robinson put together.
There's nothing in an overt, sinister sense that's discriminatory.
Well, and this is the thing too, and this is what I've said a million times over and over again about like the problem where we are now with the pendulum swinging further to the right, or the cultural pendulum swinging further to the right, is because the left has gone so fucking far left that it doesn't make sense anymore. It's no longer about the merit of your character and the like people should be we should be a colorblind society. And it was like, yeah, I agree with that. It's like, oh yeah, dude, we should like care about gay marriage. Cool, dude. They should. I don't want to. I don't like discrimination. Everybody should be treated equally. And then one day it went from being treated equally to we should treat these groups better than these groups. But these groups have a slight indication because they have this other addendum, and then there's another addendum. And we're creating a hierarchy it's a hierarchy of race, a hierarchy of sexual orientation, and then it's like, oh, well, you're just black. Well, I'm black and gay, and I have to deal with this. Well, I'm black, gay, and autistic, so I have to deal with this. And we've just created these weird fucking hierarchies of let's see who has the most shit wrong, or not wrong with them. I don't want to say because there's nothing wrong with you if you're a different race. I mean, that's fucking horrible. But it's like, oh well, I I have ADHD. Everybody fucking has ADHD. I have anxiety. Everybody has anxiety. I get that there's stages in, there's a realm of how, like, bad anxiety, you get bad anxiety, and then you get bad ADHD. But I once heard for YouTube success, you need 2 out of 3 of the following: interesting, informative content, quality editing, and being hot. No, that's not true. Like, look at Asmongold. Look at Asmongold right here. He is literally juxtaposed to all of that. All of that is working against him. Every single one of those things. He is interesting and informative. I will go with that. But editing quality, it's mostly okay. I mean, my stream cut-ups are kind of similar to his. And being hot, no. There's so many ugly creators that succeed all the time. I mean, Boogie2988 has like 4 million subs. So the being hot thing is just wrong. And then, like, the quality editing, you don't really need the quality editing. It's the most important thing is being interesting, just being interesting and entertaining. Being interesting and entertaining. That is the most important thing out of everything. And all the other stuff you will learn along the way. Like, if you're worrying about editing, you'll learn that along the way. But you will build because of your entertainment value.
Story about the Valve hiring process.
All right. The problem here is that there's a comma and not a period. Why is there 2 more minutes? Is it the credits?
Except in the way that all hiring processes select for people that are like the people doing the hiring.
So if the problem is that there's a bunch of people in this demographic that are hiring based off of their race, then the solution is to influence and bring in a different demographic of people that will hire based off of their race instead. We have to fight racism with racism.
Multiple current and former employees, they believe this issue is not being addressed because Valve's leadership simply does not understand it.
The people that run this multi-billion-dollar company that effectively has a monopoly almost on PC gaming, they just don't understand.
He hacked them first by being first and putting in a decade. I mean, yeah, no, that's fair. But I mean, you want a counter position to that? Look at God, what's his name? Nacho? No, what's his name? Queso. Queso is like, Queso doesn't have a lot going for him in terms of, like, he's sometimes funny, he can be kind of charming, but he's just a fat guy that sits in the dark and looks like a Lego. That's what he's got going for him. And you look at people who make it take Dreamcast guy. What the fuck does Dreamcast guy do? That he's not attractive. Dreamcast guy doesn't have quality content. He's not really that interesting. He really just kind of coasts by because he talks PlayStation. He's a PlayStation fanboy, and he's kind of got some zealotry that works for him. And he's been around for a long time. Like I said, dude, as long as I think the most important thing is if you're interesting. 100%. I would line 30 dicks up and slap all of them and play the pianos like I'm fucking Tom Hanks and Big, saying that I'm right on that point. And because there's enough people, I don't think looks definitely help. I mean, you could definitely hit a boost from looks, but looks won't sustain a channel. You'll get a boost because somebody's like, oh, look at that, she'll be on the thing with her tits out, she'll just be squirching them together, shooting milk out on a thumbnail. And they'll be like, yeah, let's click on that, and they'll click on it, and it's like, wow, dude, she's boring. She's boring. Even if her editing's fucking crisp, she can have her editing and be hot, but she has no quality to her entertainment value. People will not watch her. She will get diminishing returns. Being entertaining and / informative is the most important thing, because think about how many faceless channels that sometimes don't even have good editing. The commentary community is a great example of that. The commentary community, like, lives and dies by just having game footage, clip, and talking over it, and they make it work, and you never see their face. They have anonymity. Half the time the editing is lazy as fuck. Like, what I'm doing here is basically the same thing, only I'm not putting video game footage over it.
Stand this. Yeah.
It's not that they're knowingly or explicitly sexist or racist or homophobic or anything.
It's just bias. Okay, so they are. Okay, so can you prove it? No, but they are.
So this is the bias thing is just a way of not calling the company racist, not calling them homophobic. Yeah, the Twitch is a different fucking thing, dude. I'm not. Twitch is different. Twitch Twitch, I've had people that I've known that did decent on Twitch. Twitch, you have to be in the it crowd with the other Twitch people. You have to be able to like click with them. Not only that or be hot. Twitch is like a whole different monster. Twitch is so fucking yeah, dude, Twitch is its own fucking thing. I mean, I could tell you like unattractive like YouTube girls, but like there's girls on YouTube who aren't the most hot fucking girl out in the world, and they still make it happen. But when it comes to Twitch, it's a whole different monster. It's a whole different monster. It's Twitch is one of the most fucking toxic places on the world, and you have to have a certain political affiliation, and not just a certain political affiliation. You have to be pretty fucking far out there. On top of that, you also have to, so many weird criteria. You have to be in with so many communities. There's so many hot, it's just so shitty. Oh, Frogan's an example of somebody who's not hot, I guess, but she hits all those criterias. I don't know who it's Akachi would be. It's Akachi? I don't know who she is. I'll look her up after this. But the thing I was getting at with the bias is I love that they will say something. They will say all this stuff that we're not calling them all this stuff. We're not doing all this thing. But we're not saying they're implicitly this. But they have a bias, which makes them implicit. It's like, yeah, you said all that shit to cover your ass, and then said it's a bias to basically reaffirm all that other shit. You put it in there to lead up to the bias to call them all racist and homophobic.
Should we make it easier for people of color to join the company? They'll just be like, why? I feel like that's the dividing line.
Well, that's a good question. Why should it be easier for a person of any race to join the company versus a person of another race to join the company? In what form of discrimination is that good?
Some of this frustration spilled out into a wider discussion within the company after the murder of George Floyd in early 2020, as a group of employees within Valve pushed for the company to make a public statement in support of the Black Lives Matter movement.
That's right, of course.
And this is something that bothered me. There was a lot of political pressure, and I hate stuff like this. It's like, oh, we have to make a statement. You have to make a statement on this, and it's like, well, half of our fan base don't agree with the statement being made. Well, we should make it just because it's the right thing to do. But you think it's right, they don't. So we're going to alienate half of our install base, half of our consumers, in order to appease the other half. In business sense, that makes no fucking sense. That's absolutely illogical. It's like, oh, I want to just burn my money and shove it up my ass, dude, so that smoke boils out of my ears. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? What type of AIDS are you shooting out of your butthole? What are we doing here, buddy? What's the plan here? It's dumb. And I get that if you were somebody and you saw the George Floyd thing and you're like, this is bad. And you're like, yeah, it's bad. We should make a statement how we stand 100% with the Black Lives Matter movement. It's like, I don't know if we should 100% support anything. We don't really know what all their literature's about, what's all's going on. So we're just going to make a statement and side 100% and put risk to our multi-billion-dollar company, to everyone's paycheck, not just yours. You might think this way, but there's other people here that don't feel the same way, and you're willing to jeopardize their money in order to appease your feelings? That's selfish. That's selfish, and that's fucked up, and that's also bad business. Like, you can say that I'm a monster for saying that, and you shouldn't think that way, but, like, what? You want to tear everything down just to get brownie points because of a movement? Yeah, dude, exactly. I want to hear political opinions from a bunch of people that have nothing to do with politics. Absolutely, absolutely. This is like the big issue here, and this is where I get into this, because this is where because the video game stuff is me. I love video game stuff. I like the weird internet drama. I'm not over here like I'm gonna make a political video every week or whatever. It's just like, but when there's shit like this that's just implicitly dumb, I call it out, because it's like, why does it matter? Why do I care what I'm sitting here looking at? It's like, oh, dude, that's so messed up. I hope Valve says something. What the fuck are you talking about? No, dude. I hope the police, the state police issues an apology and does stuff. It's like, what the fuck are we talking about?
Because what more important thing needs to happen for a company to outwardly state that they support Black Lives Matter? The company is not your platform to push a social agenda. The only reason why companies push social agendas is because they think that the social agenda will cause them to make more money.
And there were also
Exactly. They think it'll make them more money, so that's why they played this little weird fucking thing. Had nothing to do with race. There was a lot of things there was a lot of weird shit that happened with the BLM movement. I don't want to get into it because I don't have all the information. I think that there was a lot of people that sincerely didn't like what was going on with the whole situation and got caught up in it. And I think there's also a lot of skeevy shit going on in the background, which happens with every single one of these fucking things. And if we're talking about like George Floyd that cop knew each other, they worked together as bouncers at a bar and didn't like each other. It was personal. And I don't know 100% on that. I do know that the moment, this is where I know that I wasn't okay with what Chauvin did. He had George Floyd in the back of the car, and George Floyd was like, I want to get out of the back of the car. Can you lay me on the ground? He should have said, no, you're in the back of the car. You're handcuffed. We're taking you to jail. And if he would have had anything in the back of the car, they could have taken him to the hospital. Like, the fact that they let him out of the car to lay on the ground to then do the knee thing that was enough for him to be terminated and get manslaughter at least. Now, murder, I don't know. I think that it could be classified as murder or whatever. But at the very least, he always deserved manslaughter just for not doing his job correctly and he did everything wrong in that situation. And anybody who said that he didn't, I vehemently disagree with you. I think Chauvin did so much wrong in that situation that he always deserved manslaughter. Always. And I thought that it wasn't out of the realm that a jury would find him guilty for murder. Plain and simple. It's like the same thing with the Kyle Rittenhouse thing. Kyle Rittenhouse, from the beginning to the end, defended himself. Like, he was getting attacked from the beginning to the end, and the people he had shot were attacking him. He was acting in self-defense. I do not see a realm where a jury was like, he wasn't acting in self-defense. There was never going to be a moment where they were going to lose that case. And it's the same thing with the Chauvin thing, is I think that we had drastic people saying that he maliciously did it when it was just a bunch of bad choices, and I don't know if he was malicious about it. I do know that he made a bunch of bad mistakes, and then you have the other side saying that he did nothing wrong. And it was somewhere in the middle. It was somewhere in the middle where he had done a lot wrong. It was a bad situation, bad calls, and he deserved to get some jail time for it. They blew it up into a thing that was bigger than I think it should have ever gotten. But Chauvin always deserved to get jail time for it. And that was like when I saw the Kyle Rittenhouse, and they were saying that there was a lot of misinformation going on about Kyle. Like, he shot people, like that he shot some black people. That never happened. He was there for like just to do evil. That's not true. It's like the misinformation was coming from both sides, and it's always sitting somewhere in the middle. So what you should always do is, if you take one perspective with a grain of salt, look at the other perspective and figure out what's actually going on. Which it sucks that we have to do that we have to do the legwork. But at the same time, I'm not going to be over here saying, well, we need to combat misinformation by censoring speech, because who's going to be in charge? It's whatever administration at the time is in charge of censoring that speech, and you're going to get a bunch of skewed perspectives, and that's propaganda. So I think that it sucks that we have to deal with misinformation and bullshit, but at the same time, we have the ability to Google it and do our own research. It's just about doing your own legwork. Yeah. And he was dumb for being there. I will 100% agree that he should not have been in that situation. He shouldn't have gone over to his dad's house, because the idea that the cross state line things I always thought was stupid, because his dad lived in that town, his mom lived in the town next to it, and they lived on the state line. So like that cross the state line things was stupid, because his dad literally lived in that town, and he would live with both of them. But the whole him being there thinking that he needed to protect the businesses and stuff was stupid. But him being wrong in the eyes of the law, he did everything. Dude, his control in that situation in the footage was impressive. It was impressive that somebody had the wherewithal to not be more dangerous in that situation. I thought he had good trigger control. I thought he handled himself very well for somebody being attacked. And I think he only shot when he felt like it was absolutely necessary. And that's more than you can say about most people. That's more than you can say for a lot of cops. So I thought he handled himself very well. It just kind of sucked that he got pulled into a media storm. And And like again, I think all my points stand, and I'm fucking based, and I have like the best micro penis in the world.
People who felt incredibly passionate, regardless of their own individual political convictions, that Valve should not and must not do so.
Yeah, exactly, because it's not a political action company. It's not what its goal is.
7 miles isn't a long way. Like 7 miles is nothing. 7 miles is absolutely nothing. If we're going to talk about it, that's literally, when you live in rural America, dude, I drive like 10 miles to work, 15 miles to work. Like that's nothing. That's minuscule. That's fucking chump change for distance, especially in where he was at. That's not far at all. And his dad already lived in the area, and so he already worked in that area. He partially lived in that area. He had friends in that area. It's next. Their towns next to each other. Like I grew up with a town that was like less than 20 miles away, and we'd hang out with the kids from that school. It was just like we would always go over to the other town, hang out and party, and then we'd go to the other town and do the same thing. It's just how that works. It's not that crazy. I always thought that was a dumb thing. It's somebody who doesn't understand. It's somebody who doesn't understand how, or who's never lived on like a state line next to another town. Like it's not that crazy. It's not a crazy thing. I mean, should he have done it? No. Should he have been there? No. And I 100% agree, but I always thought it was a dumb argument. I just think it was just like a weird nitpicky thing that they were trying to tack on because they thought that it added more levity to their argument, when I thought it did the opposite. And every time I'd hear that argument, I'm like, yeah, dude, I mean, if there was something going on in the town next to us and you would go check it out. And they're like, well, that's different. I'm like, no, it's not different. It's the same thing. Our town that's next to us isn't across state lines. I was like, okay, just imagine there was a state line there. It's not like you have to go through to go to another state. You don't have to go through like customs or anything. You literally just drive on a road and you're in another town. Like, again, should he have been there? No. Should he have ever been in that situation? No. It was, the whole thing was, he shouldn't have been there. That is plain and simple. Fucking putting the line down. It was dumb. He was there. But the state line thing, I always thought was stupid. As for this, dude, the whole idea that you should jeopardize other people's so there's people who disagree with you at your workplace, and you're like, we have to do this because I said so, and then you're like, well, this could hurt our bottom line, and a lot of people don't agree with you, so are their opinions invalidated? Well, they don't matter because they have the wrong opinion. See, this is where you get into toxicity, and you're willing to destroy their money to further your feelings, and that's not okay. You're literally jeopardizing everybody involved.
Thing is that I'm really glad to see videos like this be completely pretty much rebuked. People can realize that this is just basically discrimination, but in a different direction, so that means it's okay. Oh no, Valve hires competent people. Yeah, how's that going for them? So basically, whatever they're doing is working really well. Wow, look at that.
Yeah. That's basically, I mean, it's gonna work really well. It's just like one of those things that it's like, oh, because you think that we should force our opinion. Like, I don't care what Valve thinks politically. I like when companies don't say what they fucking think, to be honest. I like that they stay in their lane. They're like, okay, we have audience input that they want, that this will help us sell more. We're gonna put this out there. So there's been some buzz lately about the old Judge Dredd game. Well, guess what? We just put it on sale. Come check out our Judge Dredd game. Sure, there's gonna be people that play the Judge Dredd game and say this is fascism or whatever, and this is bad. But it's like most people are just gonna go play the game. It's just like the whole thing is dumb. Like, why would you destroy your own business? Why would you literally come in a glass and then drink it? That's just what's happening here. You're coming in a glass and then drinking it and then complaining. If Valve would have taken a hit from that, then those people would have been mad, saying their pay got cut because of racism or some shit. And what really happened is their pay got hit because of the actions of the company getting political when they had no need to get political. All it'll do is it'll fracture your team. that works at your company. I mean, we've already seen stuff like that happening with Obsidian, where some of the team agrees with it, some of it doesn't, but they don't want to say anything because they're afraid, and this happens in the industry all the time. So you're literally willing to fracture your team and fracture your buying base. And once you do that, you're coming in a glass and drinking it. You just want to see how your own seed tastes, so you can feel better about yourself. That's it. And you're willing to watch everything else burn for nothing, for absolutely nothing. A few days of brownie points on the internet, and that's dumb. That's fucking absolutely retarded.